All right, welcome. Today we are putting on our detective hats and cracking one of the oldest codes in human history, how stuff gets passed down from one generation to the next. Let's get right into it. I mean, you've probably done this, right? You look in the mirror and you wonder, where did I get that from? Is it your mom's eyes, your grandpa's smile? Well, it's not just a random coincidence. It's actually a story written in your own biology. And that's the thing. Your family tree isn't just a list of names and dates. It is a map. It's a record of the biological journey that led right to you. And lucky for us, scientists have figured out how to read that map. So we're going to treat this whole thing like a detective story. The clues, they're buried in our genes. And the case file, that's our family tree. Our mission is to solve the mystery of how we become who we are. And this right here is our key investigative tool. It's called pedigree analysis. It sounds fancy, but it's really just the official way we trace a trait, whether it's something simple like eye color or a complex genetic condition, right through a family's history. It's how we spot the patterns hiding in plain sight. Now, every good detective needs a toolkit, right? And genetic detectives are no different. But instead of fingerprint dust and magnifying glasses, their tools are actually symbols and, most importantly, logic. So let's take a look at the basic gear. Okay, I know this looks really simple, but this is literally the language of genetics. Squares are for males, circles are for females. If a shape is filled in, it means they have the trait we're looking at. The lines just connect the dots showing who's related to who. It's a simple code, but it is incredibly powerful. And once you can read these maps, that's when the fun begins. You can start hunting for clues. You can see where a trait pops up, where it vanishes for a generation, and you can use all that information to figure out the rules of the game. Now, here's where it gets really fascinating. How does a beginner, a novice, look at one of these maps versus how an expert does? Well, a really cool study from some German schools gives us this amazing peek inside the minds of these genetic detectives at different skill levels. So here's the absolute key difference. Beginners, they hunt for clues to prove that their first guess is right. They get a hunch, and they look for anything that confirms it. But the experts, they do the complete opposite. They become professional doubters. Their whole goal is to prove every other idea is wrong until only the truth is left standing. It's a great question, right? It's one thing to talk about it in theory, but what does that actually look like when you're staring at a real pedigree chart? Well, the study gives us a fantastic visual answer. So the beginners, they're drawn to the most obvious thing, all the shaded in shapes. Their eyes are all over the place. The study showed they totally fixated on one person, who, it turns out, offered zero useful clues to actually solving the puzzle. It's kind of like a detective chasing a red herring, you know? They're distracted by all the noise instead of the real signal. But the experts, they just ignore all that noise. Their eyes scan the chart and they immediately lock onto one specific little group, what you might call the smoking gun. What is it? Right there. 2 unaffected parents who have an affected child. That single clue, that one little family unit, makes it absolutely impossible for this trait to be dominant. Boom, case closed on that theory. They've proven it wrong and they can confidently move on. You know, this quote, which was cited in the study, just nails it. The goal isn't to find something that fits your idea. It's to hunt for the inconsistencies, the contradictions that let you throw out bad ideas. That is the heart of real scientific thinking. So, okay, we've cracked the textbook case. Awesome. But here's the twist. Thinking like an expert is so important because as soon as we step outside the classroom, well, real human biology gets way, way more complicated. Those neat and tidy rules don't always apply. See, most human traits aren't caused by just one single gene. They're what we call multifactorial. Think of it like a complex dance between a whole bunch of genes and a whole bunch of environmental factors. It's not one simple light switch, it's more like a giant mixing board with tons of controls. I mean, think about it. Things like your height, your risk for heart disease, even your intelligence, they aren't decided by one simple dominant or recessive gene. It's a messy combination of the genetic cards you were dealt, your lifestyle, your diet, everything. And that complexity is why solving real-world health mysteries requires even more powerful tools. So, where does this all leave our genetic detective? Well, it means their work is more important and honestly more complex than ever before. This basic logic that we've been talking about, this pedigree analysis, it's the foundation for the entire future of medicine. Today's genetic detectives use this incredible technique called linkage analysis.
So imagine a chromosome is a long highway. The gene causing a disease is like a secret hideout on that highway. We don't know where it is, but we do have known landmarks, or markers, all along the road. So scientists track a family, and they watch to see which of those landmarks are always passed down to the family members who get the disease. If one specific landmark is always inherited with the disease, they know the culprit gene must be in that same neighborhood.
And why do all this? Why go through all this trouble? Because finding that genetic neighborhood, understanding that incredibly complex code, it all leads to one ultimate goal: personalized medicine. The idea that we can finally move past one-size-fits-all treatments. This is the real-world payoff. This is what it means for you. By understanding your genetic map, doctors can get way better at predicting your risk for diseases like cancer or diabetes. They can figure out why a drug might be a miracle for one person, but do absolutely nothing for someone else. The end game here is to tailor medical treatments directly to your unique genetic code, making medicine way more effective and a whole lot safer for all of us. So we end with this question: the ability to be a genetic detective, to read the story written in our own family trees. It's not just a puzzle in a science class anymore. It is a tool that is actively shaping the future of our health. By decoding our past, we're gaining this unbelievable power to influence our future. What are we going to do with that knowledge? Something to think about. Thanks for joining.